You're listening to the Cantina Cast, your home for thought-provoking Star Wars talk. Join Adler and Jonesy in breaking down the latest news, trailers, movies, and of course, your favorite characters from a galaxy far, far away.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Cantina Cast. My name is Albert Padilla, and this is the Waystation, your source for news, Star Wars news and rumors. This week, we're a few days late. This is supposed to be have been for June 24th, 25th, somewhere around there. Josie's giving me 5. I don't know if that's a high five or he's correcting me that it was the 25th, but we're a couple days late on this one, so he's here with me now. Welcome, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. If you can believe this, Albert, we are within 2 months of Ahsoka. So we are getting close to the home stretch for Ahsoka, less than 2 months away.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy to think, given it seems like it was going to take forever, and it literally just flew right by. So,
yeah. Now, I mean, granted, this is where things get a little bit crazy too, right? So we're going to have lots of episodes coming up here, especially in the Patreon section of the show, which is actually, if you're a Patreon member, if you're not a Patreon member, now is the perfect time to go take a look at that. So before we do that, a special thanks to our now part of the tribe members: Rob, Mike, Lauren, Dante, Risk, Justin, Jackson, Sharkman, Dan, Daz, Isabella, Uncle Leon, Josh, C, Jacob, Steve, Reader Reborn, and our Delusions of Grandeur members, Rod, CJ, and Alex. Thank you all so much. CantinaCast.com/Patreon if you are curious about what we offer. But what you're really going to want to know is if you're part of the Delusions of Grandeur and now part of the tribe tier, you have preferred status to join us, not for one episode, but for the next 4 weeks on Sundays. Yeah, on Sundays, if Albert can stick to the schedule, for a top 3 moments of Rebels season 1, and we'll do one for season 2, season 3, and then season 4. And so that'll start this Sunday, July 1st. I believe that's what that is, right? So we'll start July 1st. We'll invite Patreon members onto that. If you are part of the tribe, this is the way tier, you'll also be eligible to join us on the show, but you just won't have that preferred status. So please go over to CantinaCast.com/Patreon. Let us know if you're interested. We would love to have you on the show, sign up for the show, and let us know if you're interested. And again, you have a lot of TV to watch, unless you just know your stuff right off the bat.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. If you've watched the series before, it's probably not hard to kind of focus in on the bigger moments of each season. I think some arguably have more than others, but it wasn't that hard. So I'm looking forward to it. And we'd love to, again, like Jonesy said, if anybody's interested in joining us. And if not, we'll just 2-man this. I think Lauren's going to join us as well. So
yeah.
It'll be the 3 of us and, whoever else wants to jump in and share your love for Rebels. But this is all part of that buildup as we get closer and closer to that inevitable date of, August 28th, 31st, 28th, 3rd.
23rd. Yeah.
23rd, somewhere around
You
there.
are going to get one of these dates correct. I just know it.
It's at some point it's bound to happen. The odds are in my favor. But yeah, for Ahsoka, a lot going on there, and especially when we get to like season 2, season 3, season 4, a lot more Ahsoka content. Really nothing in season 1, to be fair, but it's probably good to go ahead and still talk about Star Wars Rebels because it's an incredible series.
You know who's incredible, and I'd like to talk about as well, is our amazing people in the Patreon, or in the stream right now, the live stream. Goodness, I've got Patreon and Rebels on my mind. Skywalker's Academy, Alex, Jonathan, Sky, Eduardo, David, and Cynthia so far. We see you folks in the background. If you're listening to this, CantinaCast.com/YouTube. Like and subscribe to the show. We'd love to hear from you. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. Let us know which we're covering that you enjoy, what else you want to hear, especially on these new shows. If you hear certain aspects of the show that you like more than others, let us know. We would love to hear from you.
Yeah, this is crazy. So my 2 brothers and my sister are now here in the chat. So I don't know what's going on, but I expect Mom, Dad, and everybody else to be showing here very shortly. So looking forward to that. Okay, so we got, hey, before we go, I know you already mentioned it, but I just wanted to kind of...
No pressure, don't screw up, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. I did want to just kind of quickly just tease this. I think you've already mentioned it, but coming up right after the show, if you're a Patreon member, we are going to get into Dawn of the Jedi, which is the comic book that came out from Dark Horse Comics almost 10 years ago now at this point. And we're going to be talking about the first 5 issues for Storm. And some of this is, a lot of it is, we're going to get into the breakdown of the first arc and the first 5 issues of that arc. But really, I think what we're going to spend the most of our time on is theorizing about what elements could be lifted from the Dawn of the Jedi series of comics and make its way into the big James Mangold picture that's allegedly or on the slate to come here probably in the next 3 years or whatever that is at this point. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to try to keep it reined in because I've got so much stuff to talk about when it comes to the Old Republic, and we'll try to stay on point because I think we only have an hour, but it should be a lot of fun to do. So join us if you're a Patreon member. You swing on over there. You should have the link, like Jonesy said, in the Patreon feed ready to go.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So where do you want to start first this week on the news?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, some real quick hitters here. So Star Wars Celebration Europe 2023, if you weren't able to go, or even if you were, and you want some swag, good news is the store is now open for everybody. You can place your overpriced order for whatever it is that you're looking for. If money is no object, lots of great things out there. The key art, as always, is amazing. This year was the Death Star with all of the Rebel ships coming down from the bottom of it on a black shirt in particular. Just looks amazing. We've just got it up here on screen. A lot of great things. They got puzzles. They have skateboards. Of course, all the amazing fun shirts that they have. This is usually the big draw, right? Dave Filoni even has one of the shirts that he drew in here for Ahsoka. I think there's another Ahsoka shirt in there as well. The Ahsoka logo is there. Lots of great things. Some silly things. I think like Grogu's squid and something t-shirt. I can't remember what it was exactly, but just a lot of great things. Some Revenge of the Jedi, a lot of Return of the Jedi inspired, of course, with the 40th anniversary. Makes a lot of sense. Actually, those are some of my favorite ones, or some of the Jedi shirts in particular. But yeah, at about $40 a pop, it's a bit steep, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, $40, twice the price. It's actually, I shop at Five Below now these days for my shirts, so this is about 8 times what I normally would pay for a shirt, but totally worth it. I mean, we've bought so many of these shirts and been gifted so many of these shirts, thankfully, from Repop and et cetera, but good quality and, very unique designs. I mean, you can't find these anywhere else. They're exclusive to Star Wars Celebration.
Exactly. Yeah. And again, they've got the glassware from Return of the Jedi, which is really neat. They've got I Am Jedi, or I'm a Jedi like my father before me. Just lots of great stuff. Some things have started to sell out, though. So if this is something that you're interested in, you definitely want to go over there quickly, especially for the shirts, to make sure you get the sizes that you want, all that good stuff. So again, this
it is
sponsored.
limited. Sorry, it is a little bit more limited than it was, of course, when it first came out. So
yeah, the badge art, if they would have had like the Luke Skywalker badge art, and again, another one that sold out, I think when it was still in the preview mode, was all of the badge art. They had a whole collection of them, which is just, this year's badge art was absolutely phenomenal. It was actually the one thing I wished that I could have had from Celebration of all things, because I love the art even so much. I used it for all the backgrounds for our coverage of Celebration, but just a lot of great stuff there. But they do sell out. Make sure you get the size you want. This is not, this video and this plug is not associated with any of that. We're just kind of bringing you guys a public service announcement for those that want some really high quality swag. It's really cool seeing this stuff in person. A lot of people at Star Wars Day that I went to a few weeks ago had a lot of this gear, and it looks great in person.
Yeah, and this is a big deal because, at least the last 2 celebrations, they didn't sell this stuff online. Well, that's not true. The COVID one they did, because they had ordered a ton of it and couldn't get rid of it, unfortunately. And so we helped with that. But normally this is exclusive to people that have bought tickets, and you can't get into the store to buy this stuff. So it is kind of a one-time deal. So jump on that if you guys had any interest or weren't able to make it out to Celebration and see something that catches your eye.
Yep. So kind of flash forward over to the movies. Let's get into some real news here. So we did get official movie dates, official announced from Disney, Lucasfilm, all of that good stuff. And so they gave us our 3 dates for the 3 movies. They didn't specify which ones were in which slot, of course, but we can speculate a little bit. So the first one is May 22nd, 2026, right? Mm-hmm. This one's probably New Jedi Order, or whatever that title ends up being, but the New Jedi Order era, I think, is where we kind of landed. The next one is December 18th, 2026. Maybe Filoni's movie, New Republic era, something like that. And then you get December 17th, 2027. And this one's really kind of the quirky one, right? Because you could have maybe Dawn of the Jedi, maybe Taika Waititi's. This one's kind of a bit of an unknown here. It seems what actually comes to fruition, or what actually comes together, is what might fill that slot. But a lot of this was, again, these dates have slipped, of course, from the original reported.
Yeah.
That could have been from the Writers Guild. We also know that Avatar was bumped as well. And of course, Avatar is just printing money at this point.
Which is the real reason these probably got shifted, if you think about it.
Yeah, yeah, because you want to keep that in the prime December slot in 2025, right? If you can, I would presume. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, they want to maximize profit and everything else. But again, I think this kind of makes sense, especially with the Writers Guild. We don't know what's going on with the actors right now. The actors might strike as well. If that happens, then all hell breaks loose and everything is kind of out the window. So, but we'll see. But any thoughts on the movie dates? I mean, nothing really to speak of in that. But do those movies feel like the right slots, or at least reasonable?
Yeah, I would say the order that you've got here: May 22nd, 2026, New Jedi Order. The 18th of December, less than, how many months is that?
Call it 7 months.
7 months. We're going to release it. And I think that probably leaves a bad taste in some folks' mouth, especially
We've been there before, haven't we?
Right. With Last Jedi, Rogue One, there wasn't a lot of time. Solo, mixed Solo in there as well. And people were feeling like there was too much too fast. We were not able to catch our breath. And, then you could get into the whole thing about, well, the production quality suffered as a result of the aggressive schedule, et cetera. I'm not so concerned with this one as much, and I'm not an apologist. I'm not trying to downplay it, but if it does plan out this way, New Jedi Order, I mean, they've already got Ray cast. They've got a script. We know they've been working on a script ever since J.J. Abrams not Abrams, but Damon Lindelof was rumored to be heading that, or he was actually technically for a while. Right. So the script's already in hand. We've got we've got one of the main actresses, not the main actress from what we're hearing now from Disney. But so that doesn't feel like it's so far out there that it's never going to happen. So that makes sense. The thing about the New Republic, that one's probably not such a hard sell because you're riding the coattails of the success of The Mandalorian, Season 4, Season 3, Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka series. I don't think people are going to really be like going, what is this about? Do I want to see it? I think they're going to be building that media hype and building the suspense and the anticipation for this movie over the course of the next couple years through Disney Plus. So that almost feels like it's its own entity. It's not really reliant or dependent in any way. It's not it's not a dependency of the success or failure of either one of the other movies. I think when you really look at this, you're looking about two movies spread apart about the better part of a year and a half, with one movie thrown in the middle, which is a glorified, I shouldn't say that, people are going to kill me. I was going to say TV made movie, but that's really not it. It's just the TV jumping onto the big screen kind of thing. So I think it's
the event culmination movie. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that probably is going to make things a little bit easier for people to get into, and they're not starting this from scratch. They've got a whole bunch of stuff that they've been working on. They've got a plan, which is a great thing to have. Right. So yeah, I think this feels great. I mean, I'm happy for it. We'll see. Now, if this fails, my gosh, I mean, can you imagine what's going to happen? Like the fallout would be at this point, but we'll see.
Yeah, it'd be crazy. But again, I think these are far enough out that this is not a bad schedule, I think, and it maybe isn't one a year, but at the very least, it gives them a lot of time to let things figure out from the writers. If there's something with the actors, they've got a lot of time to let the dust settle, do it right, still have time to produce it in the right way and not feel rushed, as long as they can take care of business here in the next few months with what's going on in the kind of mainstream. Yeah. Okay, where do you want to go from here?
I don't know. Let's talk about we were talking about New Jedi Order. There was some rumors that came out, and we were just quickly, there was rumors going around about the plot, that sort of thing. It got debunked officially by Lucasfilm, I think via Gizmodo. They had a link on there, or they went and talked to them at some point, and they debunked all of that. So that's all started from it's almost like the World Weekly News of Star Wars news that's out there. They concoct these things, and it's all for clicks. And of course, this caught on. Some of the not so familiar media groups caught on to this and started running with it. And then, of course, we have some very egregious folks in Star Wars reporting that tend to take these things and monetize them in big ways. And so then next thing you know, it was all over Twitter. In fact, I remember waking up Saturday morning, I think, when this kind of was really catching wildfire, and I saw someone really upset in one of the Star Wars groups about this. And it's crazy like how quickly this stuff can spread. So all that said, anything that you've read about it has been debunked. Officially, the only thing we know is Daisy Ridley is coming back. New Jedi Order is just the working title. They've not confirmed that that's the actual title. They're probably going to go with something else, honestly. And I think they've officially said that she is going to be in the movie. However, she may not be the main character. So anybody that thinks this is going to be a Rey Skywalker centric type story, she probably is going to be that kind of old hermit. And I don't want to put her in that hole, but she's probably going to be the elder in this, and there'll probably be a younger cast of more well-known people for this generation of audiences, that sort of thing. So that's about all we have at this point on that.
Yeah, exactly. I think when we look at these titles, New Jedi Order, New Republic, Dawn of the Jedi, I think they're more defining the era anyway. It's just trying to give us a name for what we call these things rather than Mandoverse with New Republic, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, which one kind of works a little bit better? I mean, Mandoverse might make sense to us more because we've used it for so long now. But yeah, I think some of the thing I come back to is, are we this desperate for a movie that's 3 years away? I mean, I don't feel this desperation for this amount of news this early when there's really nothing going on. Like you said, Lindelof was on the project, off the project, and now Stephen Knight was kind of writing the project last we heard. But then the Writer Guild strike. So there's not a complete story out there as far as we know.
Yep.
There's no one can, even when you get these rumors, there's no agreement, even amongst the leakers and things like that actually come to any kind of conclusion about what's going on in the movie, like in the title, like in the story itself. And when that's the case, you have to kind of take a lot of this with a grain of salt. I think the only thing that did surface that is consistent just because the math works is that maybe they would start filming this in April of next year in 2024. Again, that's a pretty safe assumption, though. That's about 2 years from an anticipated release date. Then, okay, that's pretty reasonable. That's a pretty safe assumption to go with as of right now when there's absolutely nothing set in stone. But
right.
Again, it's just kind of, I just don't feel this desperation that others do for the clicks. And I know we're in the summer and things get slow and everybody's desperate for, for views and for listens, all that good stuff. But
yeah,
again, nothing to get worked up here about because there's a long road ahead of us with this movie.
Unfortunately, I think there are some outlets out there, and I won't even call them media outlets because media is probably too nice of a term for them. But there are some outlets out there that are riding on the failure of these movies. Right. And the more that they can drum up this narrative that Disney is completely lost, discombobulated, Kathleen Kennedy doesn't know what she's doing, right? This all, like you said, generates clicks. But then I think there's also a subgroup of that, and it probably extends into other groups as well that feel like the movies have to be successful. And you and I talked about this before, and I probably said something that was a little controversial at the time, but I just don't feel like right now that... Like, I want Star Wars in the movies. I'm not saying I don't. I mean, I think it belongs there. And that was the testimony that I had for that is when I saw Return of the Jedi, I think we came back and talked about it and said, Star Wars has to be on the screen. Like, I love the fact that it's on the screen. But at the same time, if this thing is prolonged or we don't get another movie, I'm not, like, quenching for that. I mean, I'd love to see it, but I feel like I'm getting my fix in terms of Star Wars content because I consume just about everything else, whether it's comics, books, the video games, right? These television series. I feel very well fed, like I said, in terms of Star Wars content. So I'm probably not pining for these movies. Do I want to see them? Yes. But I'm not out there drumming up this, the hysteria around this is a make or break kind of thing. Like if these movies don't come out, Star Wars is done. I think that's kind of, it's hyperbole, really. I mean, there's plenty of stuff that's going on in Star Wars, and Disney's got some deep pocketbooks, so this thing's going to go on forever. This isn't going to be the be all end all if these movies slip dates or
I don't know,
even don't do well.
If you listen to those same outlets, Disney's broke, so
Oh yeah, exactly.
Star Wars has bankrupted them, but hey, it's not all doom and gloom in this space. A little bit of bright news from Andor, actually. So there were some leaked photos out there, and you can go find these on the internet. They're not hard to find. We won't show them here because they were leaked, but there is actual filming going on for Andor in London right now. So this is fantastic. There were some shots, nothing really spoilery in there anyway. Seems like some Imperial type stuff, but really nothing crazy, right? So, but again, so it's shooting. So again, we were talking about even with the writer strike going on, there are things still moving forward. Andor is still in production. There's actually some really great articles / podcast out there from Entertainment Weekly. They do the Dagobah Dispatch every week, and they've had some Star Wars actors on there for the last few weeks, right? So Stellan Skarsgård was in there on June 15th, and then they did Adria Arjona, Denise Goff, and Kyle Soller on the 22nd of June last week. And so they're all kind of talking about the process, and Stellan Skarsgård really talked a lot about this in more detail
Yeah.
of, again, the interest of the role for him. Some of this is background we've heard before, but I think also with, without Tony Gilroy being on set and being involved, the writing is so good that it's almost actor and director proof, I think is some of the terms that got thrown around there. I don't know if I don't buy into that 100%, but I get where they're coming from, that it is so good and it's so palpable on the page. It just jumps off at you. And you've got such a star-studded and an amazing cast that it feels like it's difficult to mess it up, because you know the characters, everybody's really invested, I think is another big part of it.
Yeah.
And everything is just coming together and works. You've done a season of it, so you know what you're stepping into. So you're able to step right into it again, and you pick up the vision almost like the person is there, even though they're not there in person right now. So
Right.
again, good. We'll have the links out for both of these episodes out there, but to the website, they've got the videos out there. I think the videos are usually 7 or 8 minutes, something like that. And but there's good conversation out there from each of the people about their characters, what they're excited about. They've confirmed the year jump, of course, before we get there. We'll confirm a year every few episodes. Again, things that we've already reported on. There's not a lot of new stuff, but you do get little tidbits out there. But again, good articles and good overall news that Andor is progressing with shooting right now.
Yeah, I think the one thing so two things stood out to me specifically, that what you had mentioned about it being actor proof, right? The script is so good. I'm with you. Like, I mean, I'm sure there's a chance that this thing is not going to be good, but given how well season 1 went, and you've got a writer that was writing a lot of this stuff and a lot of the storylines. Remember, he had planned all this out. I think originally we were reporting they were talking about doing 5 years or 5 seasons, and then they got condensed down to 2. So I think he's had this larger narrative in his head already. So that bodes well, right? At least for someone, for knowing that the storyline has a beginning and end, and then really it's just about filling in all those spaces. And I think one thing that has been very consistent with Tony Gilroy, whether it's this or any of the other massive projects that he's done in the past, is everyone talks about how he's a prolific writer and he's an exceptional writer, and that when they first read these scripts, they're like, there's no way I could say no to this thing because it's so good. And we got that from Stellan Skarsgård. He was talking about how he got into, I think he read like the third 3 or 4 episodes of the scripts, and he had said yes, but it was just a reaffirmation for him after getting that far into it, going, holy crap, this stuff is like really good. It's, it feels like not Star Wars, and I mean that in the best way possible. Right. So I think that was really good. I did enjoy him. The Stellan Skarsgård one was probably the more interesting of the 2 interviews, but he had talked about how they had asked him, hey, was there ever a moment, and you hear this question asked of Star Wars actors all the time, was there ever a moment when you just suddenly stopped and said, oh my gosh, I'm in Star Wars? And I swear to you, every person I think I've heard answer that question has said yes. And they can tell you that defining moment of when everything finally snapped and they realized, my gosh, I'm in Star Wars. How incredible is this? Stellan Skarsgård said, no, I didn't have that moment. Now
he did though say when he was flying the ship that he said that was a pretty special moment. So again,
right.
even someone of his caliber and of his stoicism and some of this stuff and his seriousness and how he approaches the craft and the work, even with that, they still have these moments of finding their inner kid, right? Of bringing the stuff to life, even if it's very serious in tone, that they find like, this is pretty cool. It might not be one of those, oh my God, I'm in Star Wars, but this is pretty neat. I've always wanted to do this. This is pretty neat. I'm glad I do this. Yeah. This was a good call. Thanks, Agent.
Yep. Yeah. So that was good stuff if you get a chance to get out there and take a look at those articles. Very, very fun.
Yeah. Another good article in the latest Star Wars Insider, this is issue 219, and I've actually got I've got the cover there for you, so you can go see which one you're looking for. I think there's a couple of variant covers if you're part of the subscriber list, and then
nope,
I think there's another one as well. I think there's 3 covers in all. But anyway, I didn't bring the article in here, but again, they're talking, and while it has Andor on it, it's really about Clone War, or the Bad Batch rather, which I thought was really interesting. So with the Bad Batch, there's an article in there with Dave Filoni, Jennifer Corbett, and I think maybe 1 or 2 others that is talking about what it was like to bring Commander Cody back into the fold for the show. And I think we've had a couple of interviews with this. I think at Celebration, there's a little bit of talk about Cody. Of course, at the time, it was still pretty on the down low. But if you're curious about how Cody got back involved, what the reactions were, I mean, you should be picking up Star Wars Insider anyway if you're a hardcore fan, right? But encourage you to go pick that up and get some of that backstory, a little bit about how they did it, and it's like, well, what if we just did Cody? That'd be kind of cool. And everybody laughed and not thinking it's a real idea. And then they're like, no, that makes a lot of sense. What's his relationship with the Bad Batch and things like that. So if you're a huge Cody fan, if you're a huge Bad Batch fan, you just love Dave Filoni and we consume everything he does, strongly recommend you to go pull that episode, or that issue, again, 219 of Star Wars Insider.
Yeah. I got I actually get it. I get the digital versions of Star Wars Insider, so I don't get I really want to do the physical copy, but it's so expensive. And
it's very expensive.
But my gosh, those covers, the alternate covers, they really do a good job with those. I got to admit.
Yeah, I wasn't super impressed with this time around, but that's why I didn't use I didn't use that image.
You didn't use it.
All right. So another quick hit item is on Ahsoka, since we're kind of in the ramp up to Ahsoka, in that they might have it sounds like there will be a quote unquote special look into Star Wars Ahsoka at this weekend. So today again is Tuesday, June 27th. So this weekend, July 1st and 2nd, I guess I got that wrong before. Anyway, so Rosario Dawson is going to be at the 2023 Essence Festival of Culture in New Orleans. And really, she's there to promote Haunted Mansion. If you didn't know, Disney's doing another live-action Haunted Mansion. They've done this before with Eddie Murphy, but they're doing another one, and Rosario Dawson's actually in the movie. And so they're doing a lot of promotion for that, but they're actually going to do there's a film and media and that type of thing going on. So it's kind of like a convention of sorts, kind of. I don't really know what this thing is. I can't really get any good idea. But they have events and panels on the 1st and 2nd, Saturday and Sunday. And one of those two dates, they will have a special look, quote unquote, into Ahsoka. So again, not sure if we're going to get any new content or anything like that, but you might want to stay peeled to your internet browser on July 1st and 2nd, just to see if anything comes of that, anything interesting. Maybe a new trailer comes out with a couple of new little scenes or something like that. So again, just something to kind of look at, but we're really unclear what's actually going to be released, but we just know it is happening. This is all on the website. We'll have a link out to the website so you can see the article and you can read it for yourself. It's just really tiny. It's kind of buried a little bit, actually.
Yeah. I would imagine this is going to be similar to, when this usually happens when we get closer to Good Morning America. They'll show they may show a clip, but then other media outlets will get two scenes very quickly on there that we've never seen before, which doesn't really change anything about the trailer. It probably doesn't give you anything. It's like another camera angle or, a couple of scenes or, from an already established shot that we've seen in one of the other trailers. I would imagine we're going to get something like that. This seems like a weird place to show a new trailer, of course, but I can see them interviewing her and talking about it, and then they're rolling footage in the background, and suddenly there's a new shot that we've never seen, and we'll spend the next 20 hours talking about that particular shot and image, of course. But yeah, I probably will tune into this just to see it. I didn't realize this thing went for days. This is it's called an event, but it feels like a Lollapalooza kind of thing of Disney of sorts. And I think they had touted, the total number millions of viewers that watched it last year. I had no idea it even happened last year. So I'll tune in just to kind of check it out for probably this reason only, because I'm not really interested in anything else that I think I saw on there. But I'll definitely tune in for that.
Yeah, same. There was nothing really of interest for me either. I think this is something that it may not even be a trailer, even a spot trailer or anything. It might just be more of a sizzle reel behind the scenes.
Exactly.
Just a little behind the curtain type of peek, So it could be something along those lines as well. So
yep.
Again, I wouldn't put too much stock into it. When you get to it, I'm sure there'll be lots of outlets covering it. Of course, we'll cover it, and we'll come back to y'all on Sunday if we get that information early enough. And when we do the next Waystation, we'll make sure we kind of talk about that and see what exactly we got from it. Okay, in other stupid rumor news, there's been we won't give this one too much credibility because again, this is just kind of stupid. But in the Acolyte, there's a lot of rumors that Leslie Headland's been fired and that this has been put on ice, like the show is on cold storage. I think they call it a soft cancellation. Basically means they cancel it, they just don't tell you about it. And people are pointing to towards Rian Johnson. There is absolutely nothing to support any of this stuff, guys. So I get it. There's been some controversy a little bit with Leslie Headland lately with some comments she made about George Lucas and whatnot, but don't buy into this stuff. Don't get into it too far about what's going on. We know that shooting just wrapped up in May with the Acolyte. So this is all really soon, that they would make this kind of call and decision and completely can something that is effectively shot. It's still a lot of work to do on it for next year, but
right.
Again, so regardless, just and again, I mean, maybe some things turn out to be true in the long run, but still, as of right now, just chill out. There's nothing to really get worked up about here. This show is a year away. Just because there's a lot of silence and stuff from it, it means these guys are working hard too. They need to focus. I know there's been, I think some of the folks, maybe their social media they deleted, but that's not uncommon either. Because these actors get a lot of crap. Let's just be honest with you. And sometimes they just need to back out. I don't blame them.
Yeah.
Anyway, so just kind of this is more of a PSA than anything else. But Acolyte, nothing, no official cancellation, nothing like that. So don't believe necessarily what you see on the internet. Consider the source when you look at these things. Consider the outlets that you're reading them. And if you're not seeing it everywhere on Deadline and Hollywood Reporter and Variety or Vanity Fair, those are the ones that when it gets reported there, it's concrete if it's not coming from the source itself. These other ones you have to be a little bit more careful with.
Yep.
All right. How about some fun stuff?
Yeah, I got some fun stuff here. I was going to pull this up because I
I've
want
got
to steal your thunder.
Oh, I've got all of them, man.
Yeah. But look at this. So this is the cover for the. Did you pull it up too?
I've got actually a bigger screenshot of it. Well, I thought I did.
It's getting scaled down because of StreamYard, but
yeah, San Diego Comic-Con, man. This is really cool.
Yeah, so this is the Rise of the Red Blade, which I think officially, I think the ban has been lifted on this for the review, so I'm not mistaken.
July 5th, I believe.
Okay, so it's coming up here next week is what it is. But so yeah, this is the Delilah Dawson book that's coming out. This cover is freaking phenomenal. Like this is all anybody's talking about right now. And the same kind of thing happened with Master and Apprentice, I think at Celebration.
If you liked Master and Apprentice's special cover for Comic-Con, you will absolutely love this cover because it's very much that kind of reflective inspiration of it.
Yeah.
And really, really cool. Same kind of art style too. Fantastic.
Yeah. They did a cover like this similar when The Rise of Skywalker, I think, came out as well. They did one with Rey and what's his face? Oh, Kylo Ren, yeah, where they were both kind of standing there and they were reflections of each other. But so similar kind of concept here. But this one in particular is very cool because you get to see, if you flip it upside down, that is, well, I don't want to ruin anything, but those are the Jedi that you see here that were once Jedi that are now Sith Inquisitors. And on top of that, you get this exclusive little pin to boot, which has got the, which is really, really cool. So I don't know. I want to get this thing, honestly.
Oops, my bad. Hit the wrong thing. This is where I have a lot of fun in the show notes. I said it comes with a pin that Albert doesn't collect. Yeah,
I have to get this pin. If nothing else, I want it for the pin itself. But yeah,
so it's an Inquisitor's lightsaber, basically double bladed, with the circular helicopter middle, of course. So that's what the enamel pin is that goes along with it. So yeah, so you can go out over to the website in order to grab this. And I believe the link is readstarwars.com/SDCC2023. I guess it is that link. It's not like that. It is that link. So go out there and check that out. You can only get this if you are in attendance of San Diego Comic-Con. So you have to keep that in mind. And when you go, it is autographed by Delilah S. Dawson, which is really cool. You pick it up in person. They will have enough copies for every single day. So if you go out there and do your little pre-order to make sure you have it, make sure you go on the day to pick it up because your ticket for when you buy it online, your ticket is for that specific day. So there will be enough there for everybody for each day if you're pre-ordering it. So just make sure you do that. And again, that's San Diego Comic-Con is July 19th through 23rd. If you're going, you already know that because you had to do all this well in advance. But you wanted all the Bingham Random House booths is where you're going to pick all this stuff up at. But really, really cool cover.
Why didn't they do this at Celebration then? Like I was going to say, if they made us do the mad dash. No, I meant like for a Master and Apprentice, that exclusive cover. They announced, we're going to have them at Celebration, and I agree with you. Yeah, basically had to run, and they only had X amount of copies per day, and you stood in line. Remember, we got turned away. I don't know if you were with me or if I was standing by myself, but at some point I was standing in line, and they had somebody walking through, and they're like, "Sorry, folks, sold out. You can turn around." I'd been in that freaking line for an hour and a half at that point, waiting. And had no idea how many copies they were going to release. And they said, you can come back tomorrow. I came back the next day, and there was already a line when they opened up for that 9 a.m. So I was like, forget it. I'm not doing this day 3 and 4. I was missing all kinds of stuff at that point. So sorry, I'm a little salty about that, but I just wish they would have done a system like this instead.
Yeah, and actually, I think I misspoke. I think what you actually have to do, I don't think you can buy it online. I think you have to line up to buy the ticket. So you'll know if you're going to get one that day or not when you line up. but you got to get there early at the door open every day you want to go.
No.
And you can get one copy each day. So maybe they've kind of learned the lesson. I'm with you. Like, why not do an online pre-order? Maybe not everybody shows up or something and they have extra.
Yeah.
To me, I'm like, cool. If that happens, then you've got more the next day and you sell the surplus the next day.
Yep.
And hey, congratulations, San Diego Comic-Con people. We got extras, type of thing. And
Yeah.
but I'm with you again. I like the certainty of this. I don't like the grab bag type of mentality. Just tell me if I'm going to get it or not, so I know where to spend my time, and I don't have to waste it standing around doing nothing.
Yeah. Hey, we're old, man. We don't have time for this anymore.
Ain't got time for this nonsense. Yeah. All right, cool. All right, how we doing on time? Oh, we got lots of time.
We got lots of time. We got a lot of
Yeah,
comic books still to get through.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So this is going to be the book and comic show. We've not had one in a while. We're going to pop this back up on here. And if you are a fan of the Clone Wars 15th anniversary, my friend, well,
Or the Clone Wars in general, yes.
or the Clone Wars in general, but if you were in that style, the visual style, and you love Giuseppe Camuncoli, let me just tell you, you have a plethora of covers to choose from in the variants upcoming here. So we've got the wonderful Oris thing here. This is Bounty Hunters number 37. This is coming out August 30th. So if you've not put your pre-orders in yet, you need to go talk to your local comic shop. Make sure you get that in. Again, really cool cover.
I like the coloring on this one.
Yeah. You get her in the orange jumpsuit, but again, a very orange and kind of sunset type of background. So really cool. Really cool here. Bounty Hunters is going to do another one, though, with issue 38.
Oh, my goodness. Look at that.
Well, hold on. I guess I'll go to Dr. Aphra.
Dr. Aphra.
Yeah, I guess we'll do these out of order. All right. So we have Dr. Aphra here. This is number 35. We have Asajj Ventress on the cover, as well as her ship in the background.
Oh, yeah.
So, again, pretty cool. This comes out August 23rd. So, again, go talk to your local comic shop if you are interested in that. But really cool cover there. And here's the one that I think people are going to be really kind of going crazy over. This is Dr. Aphra number 36. This is an Ahsoka cover with the Convor in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful sun coming through the clouds, streaking sunlight, with the Convor in the background. Ahsoka with an epic pose. A very interesting take on the character here of an older version of the character. This is not what I would consider a young Clone Wars Ahsoka, visual to it. But man,
Oh, no way. This is older Ahsoka.
Yeah, so again, it's really cool. There's no release date set for this one quite yet. This will be in September. Again, this is Dr. Aphra 36. This is the one that I think people are probably going to go nuts over, that they're really interested in. And why?
There they are. Oh,
well,
sorry.
hold on.
Oh, I was ready to talk about D-Squad.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm like, where'd my other ones go here? Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Let's try to, I'll get there. All right, so we got Darth Vader. I'm going to get the D-Squad, don't worry.
No idea who that is. Is that Anakin Skywalker?
Yeah, this is this guy, Anakin Skywalker. Here he has a kind of an epic story arc in these things. So this is Darth
Up and coming.
Yeah, he's kind of an up-and-comer. Darth Vader number 37, Anakin Skywalker on the cover. This comes out August 16th. Again, it looks like he's in some sort of Imperial type of facility. You actually have that hunk of junk that they flew in the Clone Wars in the background as well. And again, another really cool cover here. Let's see here. What the next one is. No. Goodness gracious. These
There
are
we
out of
go.
order. Yeah, so again, this is Star Wars issue number 37. Obi-Wan Kenobi. This comes out August 9th, so this is right around the corner. Again, you get Obi-Wan in his Clone Wars attire with the armor, with, of course, the fingers out in front of him. There we go.
And to be clear, they're not trying to tie this to that Star Wars episode, right? This is just celebrating with these special covers. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry I wasn't more clear. Yeah, these are all variant covers, specifically celebrating Clone Wars 15th anniversary.
Yeah.
They do this all the time. They did it with Empire. They did it with Return of the Jedi. They did it with Star Wars. So they do this from time. Actually, they just did a run with Solo: A Star Wars Story because it's the 5th anniversary for Star Wars: A Star Wars Story. Solo's a Star Wars Story. So again, these are pretty routine and pretty common that what we get here.
So Alex had a question about the Asajj Ventress because it showed Asajj Ventress's ship in the background. No, you don't need to go back.
Okay.
But then it had Asajj Ventress on there, and he said, "Who's flying it?" Well, the same thing applies here. That's Obi-Wan Kenobi's fighter, but yet he's standing there. So who's flying that? I guess it's R5?
Yeah, R4, I think, wasn't it?
R4? R4.
Yeah. Awful.
Awful.
All right.
Maybe that's it.
All right. So again, lots of great comics here. I thought I had another one here for Cad Bane,
Oh, I think
but I can't seem to find it. Well, I thought I had it. Again, these were all in order at one point, but well, anyway. All right. So let's go talk about your D Squad. So the Dark Droids event is coming up on Marvel Comics, and I pulled the cover that the only one that really people probably care about.
Yeah.
And we'll kind of we got Chopper on the cover. And so here's a little bit of here's a little blurb about what this was. This is over on StarWars.com, by the way. You can get this little preview. And it basically says a terrible scourge is corrupting the galaxy's droids. To fight this menace, R2-D2 has to assemble a team of droid heroes, the D Squad, which is just the awfulest name, filled with guest stars from across the galaxy, including a special appearance and showdown by Chopper from Star Wars Rebels. Plus, the Book of Ajax provides the missing pieces linking Revelations, Dark Droids, and the Han Solo and Chewbacca series. Read to see how it's all connected. It's like they were talking to Becca Benjamin. It's all connected. Our friends over at Target Top Shelf. So if you are excited about the Marvel event Dark Droids, then D Squad is probably right up your alley. And again, if you just love Chopper and the Clone Wars and Rebels and all that good stuff, and R2-D2, of course, this is a great cover for you to go and pick up as well.
I just want to know what Chopper's kill count's going to be, because that guy is a psychopath. He's a sociopath, and yeah, he's going to. I just see him as that kind of. There's always that. Whenever they assemble the squad, there's always that wild card kind of character that it's unpredictable. Right. That's like Chopper to a T. So I'm actually looking forward to this one.
Yep. So we had talked a little bit about the Mandalorian comic adaptation. Season 1 has wrapped up, and now we're on to season 2. And this is actually out now, so issue 1. And this is the 1A covers. This is the prime cover that you could find. And it has Cobb Vanth on the cover, introducing the Marshal Cobb Vanth. So again, this is pretty much a straight retelling of the Mandalorian story. So if you're a comic fan and you liked The Mandalorian and you don't want any kind of deviation from it, these are pretty good, especially if you love the art. It's the same creative team that was in the first one. So if you enjoyed the first season run of the Mandalorian comic series, then this will probably be right up your alley. We got Grogu looking kind of fierce and mean here.
He looks bloated. Like he looks like he's having an allergic reaction or something. His cheeks
He had a lot of frogs this morning, so he's just a little heavy this morning, retaining a little bit of water.
That's what it looks like. There's something going on with his face, and I'm not knocking the art. I can't draw over the crap, but just it stands out. I don't know. I mean, this is great. I just wonder like what the print run and are people buying this? Because if it's just a straight retelling, and from what we've read and seen already, it does look like it's just a retelling. Which I guess it's cool if you're a big fan and you like comic books. This is probably yours, but I don't think they're going after new people here.
Well, again, I think this is where you look at the collector aspect of it, and you talk about first appearances, first cover appearances, and things like that. And that's where these series really get
that's true.
Crucial for collectors, because they want to say, well, this is the first one Cobb Vanth was on. It was the first issue or the first cover appearance. If anything ever happens with the character later on, people start specking on this, and they want to do that. And that's where the first Mandalorian season, because you had all of these characters' first appearances. So that series did pretty well because many of those issues had first appearance characters.
Yeah. So it's retirement. This is basically, you're invested in your retirement by buying these.
That's one approach to retirement, I suppose. Yeah. All right. So, and we'll wrap up the comic train here with we're talking about adaptations. And so the Obi-Wan Kenobi series is going to be adapted into the comic books as well. I'm not sure this was totally needed, but what do I know? So this starts coming out, I think the debut's September 13th. I don't have what the run is on this. It might be a 5-issue run, something like that, to coincide with the episode, something along those lines. But again, we got a few of the covers here. So you do have Ewan McGregor, Obi-Wan Kenobi there with Leia. Owen, we got the Inquisitors, of course. Reva's kind of in the background, so it's featuring the Grand Inquisitor a little bit. I think where this one might be kind of cool, though, is when you get to the Vader scenes. I think that's where this series, those two fights in particular, I think that would be really interesting to see how they do this on the page. So I think this is where this one might be a little bit interesting. I got a couple of the variants on here. We have Obi on his AOP toot machine, basically. But the one that's kind of cool, well, I thought it was kind of cool. The more I look at it, I get a little less interested. But it's got this really great cover of Reva and the Grand Inquisitor on there with the lightsaber in between them. Starry background. So its framing up is kind of cool and nice.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah, some of the art's not exactly my flavor of comics that I prefer, but again, I like the style of this cover. It's really, it pops out at you really well, and the colors really grab you. I love the idea of the lightsaber as kind of a frame, especially around the face, as almost like a vignette of sorts. So pretty cool. And so if you like these alternate covers, these variant covers, something you want to go check out in September. And again, I think this series would be more something to watch when you actually see what the fight scenes look like with Obi-Wan. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
I just wonder why they don't. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say I don't. like I'm all for these. Like again, apart from, I still have questions about why. Even if why don't they? I guess the second question is why don't they release them when the show's like out? Like, catch that fire of, hey, it's premiering, and maybe even 2 episodes in, you release the comic book so people can get caught up or whatever, rather than waiting almost the better part of a year since. I mean, been over a year since Kenobi had come out, and now we're just now getting the comics. So that's just a weird strategy, I guess, for me. Like tactically, I don't understand it, but again, like you said, what do I know?
Yeah, hey, and if you're curious about an original take on the effect of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, you can go out to cantinacast.com/jeditorials, and you can go read our friend Jeff's article about Kenobi, a little love, right? A little love for Kenobi. They're talking about the 1-year anniversary and some of the lasting effects on him and his interpretations of it. So shameless plug for the website and for our buddy Jeff. And speaking of Jeff, he actually gave us a little bit of knowledge in Discord today that the Star Wars Unlimited game, the game that
oh boy,
gives you unlimited cards for unlimited money, they released their quick start rules. I asked this question in Discord. I haven't got a response yet. This game doesn't come out until 2024. Why would you have why would you release a quick start rules set for a game that requires cards and you're not going to get your hands on this for a long time? So, but basically, if you read the quick start guide, I think it's like a dozen or so pages. It kind of reads a little bit like any standard Magic kind of game, a little bit like a Commander style game if you're familiar with those card games. I know my nerd flag is waving really high and proud right now, but those are, if you're into that kind of game, it is interesting. I think the artwork is going to be interesting on the cards. It's great to have Star Wars back in that world, so we'll see what happens with it. But anyway, shout out to Jeff for not only his contributions to the website, but also for giving us a heads up that there is a useless set of rules for you to go read and pine over as we wait for the game to be released in who knows how many months in 2024.
Yep.
Thanks, Jeff. Yeah. And
was that all you had there?
That's the last one, man. You got a really special piece of news that's close to your heart. It's about account billing and support.
Yeah.
Wait, that's not it.
No, that's not it. It's, well, in some ways, I guess it could be. Yeah, they officially announced, this last piece of news, they officially announced that BioWare is releasing the rights to, or I guess the development from Star Wars The Old Republic, so SWTOR, is being handed over to Broadsword, and so still being published by EA. It said most of the staff from SWTOR was going to go from BioWare over to Broadsword. I've actually been to the BioWare location here, and they've got a couple different offices. So I'm curious as to whether or not those will just be redone, like, repurposed, and now Broadsword owns them, if they're going to rename them or whatever. But yeah, but then I saw the list today, and then this has kind of been a very recent developing story. Most of all of the main people, like even the executive producer, is now going over to Broadsword. So at first it was like, a couple people will probably be leaving. It looks like everybody is, and kudos to them. Like everybody's been they've been in really good spirits. They're very excited about the change. And some of the things that they also mentioned with they keep saying that they are planning on updating this game. We're coming up on 10 years now, well over 10 years, right, at this point. So wow. They talked about they've got 7.3.1 coming out, 7.4. They're going to go to cloud servers, and they're introducing DirectX 12 support, which for anybody that feels like, hey, this game is, got a shelf life of 6 months to a year, you're not going to invest this much money into DirectX 12 unless you've got a long-term roadmap here. So all that to say is this game's not going away anytime soon, which is really good.
It's going to look like a 2018 game in no time.
Yeah, exactly. It probably will be a 2018 game, which isn't probably a bad thing if they can get it there, honestly. So I still have my account. I still pay for it every month. I haven't played recently, probably in the last 2 or 3 months, and I need to log in and do my dailies. But I do really love this game. In fact, I told Jonesy the day after we were reading Force Storm ahead of our Patreon show tonight, I had the itch to get back in there and jump into Osis and Tython and go smack some Jedi around, or sorry, some Sith around. So I'm looking forward to getting back into it soon.
Yeah, pretty cool. The game still got legs. I mean, even after all these years, it continues to inspire that era and keep that era alive when no one else is really doing anything with it. So it's really cool that it does keep it alive. That spirit, it gives us hope that there's still hope that will at some point come around and be realized in some way. I don't know when that would be, if ever, but we'll have to see. Right. But it's kind of cool that with Dawn of the Jedi and some of the things we've had legacy-wise, bringing that in, and it's still there. And again, it's nice that it has maybe renewed life, breathed into the game. It hasn't necessarily been on life support, but it's definitely been difficult to see how well how it's actually doing. So, hopefully this transfer, this change, shake up helps prolong the life and give all those players a lot of new content.
Yeah, and bring in new players, hopefully.
That's kind of the interesting one is like, do these things do enough to get players involved, And
Yeah.
that's always the tricky part. You have to have a really big expansion storyline that really grasps you. And at this point, it's like sort of a major character showing up. What is that? What does it actually look like?
Yeah. I think when you if you follow SWTOR, then you're probably biased. That said, if you are to believe people like BioWare and EA, it's generating revenue. So it's not on life support. They are making money off this. They do talk about the new subscribers. And while it's not, at the same level of some of the big games that are coming out today, there are people that are coming to this. And whether it's I put it off for so long, I've always heard about it, I want to do it, or they just, it's evergreen in a lot of ways. Even though it's not canon, it is very evergreen. So if you suddenly get the bug and are like, whoa, I want to know about this Satil Shan, or I want to know about Force Storm and Rakata and all this stuff, like this is the only place that you can go where you can actively live and play and breathe that environment. And it is in a world of in itself, right? It's so far removed from the Republic era and the Rebellion eras and that sort of thing. It's so different, vastly different in a lot of different ways. So it is kind of I was going to say it's almost like a fantasy world in some ways. And I think that's the appeal of it, really. It's just everything's so over the top, which is a lot of fun. So,
yep.
So you got it. Yeah, it's available if you're ever interested. And that's it. We got nothing else.
Folks. Yeah. Fun with flags is over, as Cynthia said. She thought this was fun with flags.
I don't even know what that means. I'm sure someone does.
That's a what's it called reference? Big Bang Theory.
Oh,
Sheldon had the episode Fun with Flags, and it was the furthest thing from fun. So she's really calling us not fun. So it's fantastic.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Speaking of our amazing people in the live stream, such as Cynthia, special thank you to everyone who came out. CantinaCast.com/YouTube if you're listening to this. Skywalker's Academy, Alex, Jonathan, Sky, Eduardo, David, Cynthia, Jorge, everybody in the background. We had a lot of people join throughout the show, so thank you all so much for coming out. If you like the show, please do subscribe, hit us a like, let us know what you like about it. Give us that wonderful feedback. We would love to hear from you. And we will, if you are a Patreon member, or you're not, CantinaCast.com/Patreon, there is a link out there for you for our follow-up episode here in just a few minutes. Dawn of the Jedi Force Storm. So we'll cover the first 5-issue arc, give you some of the highlights of what that arc looked like, and then maybe give you a little tidbit about things that could be carried over onto the big screen with Mr. James Mangold.
Yeah. And the big catch, or I guess the big takeaway, is whether or not we're going to be able to get this show done in an hour, because I don't see it happening. So hopefully
we were supposed to do 30 minutes, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be 30 minutes, I can tell you right now. So we'll see. It could be, we may be going to overtime, so you'll get your money's worth this week on the Patreon show. All right. We'll end it there. You got any last comments, thoughts, anything else?
Nope. Stay safe out there, everyone. Appreciate it.
All right. Yep. Thanks, guys. We'll see you guys here in just a little bit, and otherwise we'll see you next week.
You're still listening? Wow, that's amazing. Well, I'm here to give you the disclaimer. Normally we do a big, long, drawn-out disclaimer thing saying what's what and who's what and all that other stuff, but I think you guys kind of know that Lucasfilm and Disney have no affiliation with us at all, and we have none with them. We talk about Star Wars, which is their property, and all that other good, fun stuff, but I think you can tell which is our stuff and which is their stuff. If you can't, well, then send a lawyer to send an email to me, and I'll be glad to chat with them. Other than that, you know what's what, so that's your disclaimer.